Okay, hi there. So welcome back. This is part two of the two-part series for people coming from other frameworks like React, Vue, and Angular. So today I'm going to go over the more advanced features. I'm not going to go over these really lifecycle functions because I assume you already are. They're pretty straightforward if you're coming from a different framework. But I'm going to show you how to make like a simple click app with set context and or with a store, and then I'm going to go over transitions, and that'll be about it. So first, to get set up, you just need to come to svelte.dev and then follow these instructions with your project name right there. Pretty straightforward. I already did that, so you don't have to watch me do it. And once you do npm run dev, this will show up and you'll be going on localhost 5000. Also, I still have a Patreon if you want to contribute. If not, that's fine. Okay, so this is what you'll get once you've downloaded and started the server. It's just app.svelte here, like that, and then you've got a main.js, which is like the JavaScript. It imports the app and mounts it. So I'm going to start out here, and I'm going to make a button component, button.svelte, and I copy and pasted it, just a little boilerplate, save, and then I'm going to import the button. So we don't need name. I'm going to import button from /button.svelte, and then I'm going to have a let count equal 0. So every time that the button is pushed, the count will be increased. So how do we do that? So first way we're going to do that is with just put a function increment. It's just going to do count plus plus. And I don't know if it was clear from the last video or if you watched it, but the state in each component is just here, the variables. Any component can have a state, and it's just the JavaScript variables that are in script. Okay, so count plus plus. So how will button know about this increment function? So one thing you can do is pass it down. So export increment, and then on click, it's going to do increment like that. Export let increment, and then you just pass it down here like that, and that should work. So that's kind of like the basic prop drilling way. So click me, it goes up. Okay, another thing you can do is use context. So import set context from svelte. And now here we have increment. You just need to set context the key. So I'm going to call it increment, just the same name, and then pass it the function increment. Okay, and then to get it from the button, you just do the opposite. Save that. And rather than taking it as a prop, we just need to import get context from svelte. And then down here, const increment equals get context increment. I hope I spelled both those right. Okay, and let's see if that works. So refreshes. Cool, and that'll work too. So that's how it's pretty straightforward, the context. You just set context, that puts it in the context, and then any component can get it with get context. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is do it with a store. So here, it's going to be a store.js. Okay, and then in store, I'm going to just show you a writable store for now. Import writable from svelte/store. Then to create it, export const click count equals writable 0. Okay, so click count here is going to be, that is the store. And now in here we can import, so let me get rid of set context, get context, and actually count we don't need anymore, that's just going to be the store. So we'll just use the store to keep track of the count. So import, what do I call it, click count from /store.js. Okay, so click count is the store, and right here, so to access a store's value, you can do click count with a $, and this will be whatever the value of the store is. So if I save that, you'll see here we have a 0, just like in our writable store. I'll change that to 1 just so you can see. But then here from button, we can also import the writable store. So import import, oh boy, click count from /store.js. Okay, and then we can just write the increment function right in here. So function increment is going to take the click count value. So I use the $sign for that and ++. Okay, so it's going to call increment again. Okay, so I changed it to 1, so it starts as 1, and then click me. Okay, so this shared store is being incremented like this, and then it updates over here. Another thing you can do if this kind of like $sign thing kind of makes you nervous is you can subscribe to a store. So const unsubscribe. So this will it just returns an unsubscribe function if you want to unsubscribe at some point, and then click count.subscribe, and then you pass it the new value. So whenever it gets updated, this new value will be passed, and something will happen here. So if you want, rather than doing it like this, you could have your own variable count, and we'll let count equal -1, and then every time it changes, count ++. Okay, and then if you want to, you could do like if count is greater than 3, then unsubscribe. Something like that. Okay, and so now that it's refreshed, it's 0, even though it says -1 here, because this subscribe increments it. So when it's like created or the first time, it'll increment it. So now it's -1. And then you'll see if I click, once it hits 4, then it unsubscribes because it's greater than 3. Okay, so there's that. Just so you're aware too, there's also, you can do something like, rather than doing this, you can do click count.set, and that'll just set it, or you can click count.update and take the old value, so old value, and then return a new value for the store. So those are other options if this kind of $sign thing makes you nervous. Okay, so that's that with stores and context. Now I'm going to do transitions. So I guess this doesn't matter. Okay, so transition, I'm going to do the transition right in this button. So to do a transition, import one called fly. They have a few ones, different names. Fabler, fly, slide, scale, draw. So I'll just do fly, import fly from svelte/transition. Okay, so one thing that's a bit weird that you'll need to be aware of is if you want a transition to, I guess it just won't have a click right now. If you want a transition to trigger, so it's going to be transition fly, whatever the name of that is, and then equals in quotes and curly brackets, you can pass the some parameters. So duration is 1. With fly, you need to say where it's flying from. So I'll say maybe fly from 3000. And then a weird thing is for it to trigger, you need it to be dynamically put onto the screen. Like you can't just have nothing there and have the transition get triggered. It needs to be put onto the screen or taken off with some kind of like template. So this is kind of a weird way that I have to do it, but I'll show you a way to get around all of this extra code in a second. But this is like if you're in the REPL, you'll need to do it like this. So on mount from svelte, and then I'll have let show equal false, and then once it's mounted, I'm going to set it to true. So show equals true. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, yeah, so now it's flying in whoop, from all the way over there. So that's the fly transition. So instead of doing this, if you want, oh, well, so I should also mention, let's say I have, we'll say on click, it's going to send show to false. So you can see it transition out, on click equals show equals false. Let's try that. Okay, so when you have transition, like I wrote in the on the HTML element, oh, and then it goes out. When you have it like this, it's going to transition in and transition out. So if I only want it transition in, then I'll do in, and you'll see it flies in, but then when I click it, it just disappears. But if I only want it to go out, transition out, then I'll just type out. So there's no transition there, but now I click out and it goes out. So you can do transition in or out. So there's fly. I'm not going to show you the others. You can kind of look at it yourself. But so here, one thing you can do is right here, do set intro to true. Comma there and save that. So if I do intro true, then it's going to automatically trigger the transitions without needing all of this stuff here. So that saves a lot of code. Now I can save it. And now with intro true, it's just going to do it automatically. Oh wait, I guess I removed show, so that's not going to work anymore. And you'll see if I remove intro true, save, then there's going to be no transition because it only triggers when it's in some kind of template block and comes in or out. Okay, I think that's all. I might keep talking for a little bit, just to kind of tell you what a few of these others do. A tween and spring motion, these are kind of cool. They're basically just like stores, writable stores, but they incrementally go from one value to another. I probably could have shown you that, but you can look at those on your own. So like writable, when you set it to 1 or you increment it by 1, it just immediately goes 1 and then 2. With these stores, it's going to go up incrementally. So tweened will just go like 0 and then it'll go through a bunch of values all the way up to 1. So I have a video on all these other things if you want to look at them. Tick also, so tick, well, I'm not going to explain that, but okay, I think that's all for this video. So please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.